The ultimate news portal for the Philadelphia Phillies is on the air, bringing you everything about Philly's most traditional franchise.
Stay tuned for behind-the-scenes trade rumors and analysis of the big plays because our bulletin starts right now.
6 years ago, the Philadelphia Phillies made a decision that would either define a dynasty or haunt this franchise forever. They let a young arm walk out the door. Tonight, we found out exactly how right that decision was. Because while a 23-year-old rookie was carving up the St. Louis Cardinals at Citizens Bank Park, 3,000 miles away, in San Diego, the man he essentially replaced was buried on the injured list, watching his own contract get gutted by a clause nobody wanted to talk about. This is a story of two paths. One led to Citizens Bank Park becoming a fortress. The other led to a max security prison of medical reports and declining leverage. Let's start with the fortress. Andrew Painter did not just pitch on Saturday night. He made a statement. 7 innings, 1 run allowed, a 12-3 demolition of the Cardinals. This wasn't just his best start of the season. It was the best start of his young career, period. Think about what that means for a franchise that has been searching for stability at the back of the rotation for years. Dombrowski built this rotation around aces. Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez. But championship rotations aren't won with 3 arms. They're won with 5. And for months, that 5th spot has been the Phillies' Achilles heel. Painter just slammed the door on that conversation. He is officially the guy. The 5th starter this team desperately needed heading into the stretch run. This is not hype. This is not projection. This is production, right when it matters most. But to truly understand how monumental this emergence is, we have to go back to 2020. Back to the year the Phillies front office made one of the boldest pivots in recent franchise history. They went out and got an ace, Zack Wheeler, a move that reshaped the identity of this entire pitching staff for the better part of a decade. But to make room, to build a foundation for what we're seeing right now, they had to say goodbye to someone. Nick Pivetta, a name Phillies fans know all too well. A talent that flashed brilliance but never found consistency in Philadelphia. Pivetta came over from Washington back in 2015, made his debut with the Phillies in 2017. He had swing and miss stuff, real strikeout numbers. 140 strikeouts as a rookie, 188 the following year. The kind of numbers that make a front office dream on upside. But dreaming and delivering are two different things. His final season in Philadelphia was a disaster, a move to the bullpen, a quiet exit from the organization that drafted his potential but never unlocked it. He himself admitted it years later. He wasn't throwing well at the end here. He was fighting for his life on the mound instead of just competing. That's a gut-wrenching admission from any player. But here's where the story gets complicated. Here's where Phillies fans have to sit with some discomfort. Pivetta left Philadelphia and found new life in Boston. He turned himself into a legitimate mid-rotation arm, a guy who could eat innings and give you competent, sometimes excellent starts. He earned himself a real payday, a 4-year, $55 million deal with the San Diego Padres back in February of 2025. $23 million guaranteed over the first 2 years. Opt-out clauses built in after year 2 and year 3. This was a pitcher who had rebuilt his career, brick by brick, away from Philadelphia. This was supposed to be his redemption arc completed. But baseball has a way of humbling everyone. Because right now, as we speak, Pivetta is buried in one of the worst injury stretches of his career. Friday marked his 131st consecutive day on the injured list. Let that number sink in for a moment. 131 days. That is not a tweak. That is not a maintenance day. That is a body that is broken down at the worst possible time. And here's the twist that turns this from a sad story into a brutal business lesson. Buried inside Pivetta's contract was a clause, a club option trigger. If he spent at least 130 consecutive days on the injured list in either this season or last, San Diego gets flexibility to walk away from 2 years and $32 million remaining on his deal. The Padres front office, when they signed this deal, clearly had concerns about his durability. They protected themselves. And now, that protection has become very, very real. This is a cold, calculated side of professional sports that fans rarely see up close. A front office doesn't just sign talent. They sign risk, and they hedge against that risk with legal language buried on page 40 of contract. Nobody reads until it matters. It matters now. San Diego holds a leverage. Pivetta holds a body that has betrayed him at the exact moment he needed it most. This is a disaster for him, and it stands in stark, brutal contrast to what we're witnessing in Philadelphia right now. While Pivetta fights uncertainty in a hospital bed or a rehab facility, Andrew Painter is out there proving that the Phillies pitching pipeline is healthier than it has ever been. Let's talk about why this matters on a franchise-wide scale. Dombrowski does not build rotations by accident. He builds them with intention, with scouting reports, with makeup evaluations that go far beyond radar gun readings. The Wheeler trade back in 2020 wasn't just about acquiring an ace. It was a philosophical shift, a statement that this franchise was moving away from reclamation projects and moving toward foundational pieces. Nick Pivetta was, unfortunately, a casualty of that shift, not because he lacked talent, but because the timeline for his development didn't match the urgency of a franchise trying to win now. Painter represents the payoff of that patient, calculated approach. He is not a reclamation project. He is not a change of scenery gamble. He is homegrown, cultivated, protected through injury, at-bats of his own, brought back slowly, and unleashed at exactly the right moment. This is what a properly run player development system looks like. This is Dombrowski playing chess, while other front offices are still playing checkers. Now here's where I need you, Phillies Nation, to actually think about this, not just react emotionally. Think, if the front office back in 2020 had chosen differently, if they had kept developing Pivetta instead of pivoting toward Wheeler, would this organization even have the payroll space, the trade capital, the flexibility to build what we're seeing right now? Or would the Phillies be stuck exactly where the Padres are today, watching a talented but fragile arm rot on the injured list while $32 million evaporates into thin air? This is the brutal calculus of team building in modern baseball. Every decision has a ripple effect that plays out years down the line. Every non-tender, every trade, every free agent departure sets off a chain reaction that either builds a dynasty or buries a franchise in dead money. The Phillies bet on upside with Wheeler back in 2020. That bet has paid off spectacularly. The Padres bet on reliability with Pivetta in 2025. That bet is currently blowing up in their face. So here's the polarizing question I want you to fight about in the comments. Knowing everything we know now, would you have kept Nick Pivetta in 2020 instead of pursuing Zack Wheeler? Would you have bet on organizational patience instead of aggressive spending on an outside ace? Or do you believe the Phillies front office made the exact right call, even though it meant watching a former prospect find success and then implode somewhere else? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Both outcomes were possible. Painter could have suffered the same fate as Pivetta: injuries, inconsistency, a ticket out of town before ever reaching his ceiling. Instead, he's delivering 7 shutout innings against a playoff caliber lineup in the middle of a pennant race. That's not luck. That's not destiny. That's the result of a front office that learned from every single mistake of the past decade and applied those lessons in real time. This is why player development matters just as much as free agency splashes. This is why patience sometimes beats aggression. And this is exactly why Phillies fans need to trust the process happening in that clubhouse right now, even when it feels uncertain. Because 6 years ago, letting Nick Pivetta walk felt like a gut punch to a fan base desperate for pitching depth. Today, it looks like one of the most quietly brilliant roster decisions this front office has ever made. Painter is the proof. Wheeler was a foundation. And Pivetta's current situation in San Diego is the cautionary tale that validates every single risk this organization took to get here. So drop your take in the comments right now. Was letting Nick Pivetta go the best decision this front office ever made? Or did the Phillies get lucky that Painter turned into what Pivetta never could? I want to see this comment section explode with Phillies Nation debating both sides of this. And if you want to be locked in before the next front office bombshell drops, because trust me, there's another one coming before this trade deadline closes. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications. Get ready, because the Phillies are not done making moves that will define this franchise for the next decade. Stay locked in. This story is far from over.